So all this data from different sources, okay, so which is going to get stored in your database. This database has a structured format tables, okay, so it will be having a tables. So what tables will be having? Yes, so we'll be having, so hope in your out of this time after your graduation or in your graduation itself, if you guys are using any of your machines or laptop systems, desktops, anything, there might be a software called, right, usually like Excel, right? So where you will be having columns, rows, and this is your cell. So this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. These are all your row 1, row 2, row 3, something like this. So these are all your cells, right? So if you see this information, all this information in a structured format. So how you are getting this data? So getting stored in this particular file. So it will be based on your columns, based on your columns, based on your rows, and based on your cells. So already we know that which column should have what kind of data, and which column, which row should have which value. So all this information is available in your tables. So the same way, so this database also should have, usually like have the same kind of structured tables. So you'll be having the structures here with the format of tables. So only will be having columns and will be having rows. And where in cells you'll be using some values. So now if I say, if I need to extract some information from this particular table, so if I refer to a column 1, column 2, column 3, or column 4, any of these columns, so I can extract the data from this particular table by using a language called SQL. Okay, by using a language called SQL. So now you are using a database to store the information or to store our data. Okay, so to extract this data, so how it is getting stored? It is getting stored in the tables. So from this tables, how you are getting the data? So by using SQL language, by using this SQL language, you are extracting the data what you have it in the tables. Okay, so this is how you are going to extract your data. So but somewhere you need to write this SQL, right? So where you want to write that SQL, so that SQL will be returned in your SSMS. Okay, SQL Server Management Studio. So in this SQL Server Management Studio, you will be writing this language, okay, structured query language, to extract the data which is stored in the structured format in the database. Clear? What we are going to use and how you are going to extract the data and how you are going to store the data, how you are going to bring the data, where you will be writing your SQL. So all these things. What is the purpose? First thing. Clear to anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So please be answer for the questions. If I ask something like try to reply for it. Okay. So that I will get to know like whether you guys are able to understand or not. Otherwise, it's very difficult for me to get to know like whether you people are able to understand or not. Right, Vinod? Jyoti?
Yes, yes.
Pawan and Imran. Yes. So hope you, Pawan and Imran, you might be knowing, but still at least try to be more interactive so that it will be we'll be having a good sessions going forward. So Jyoti, any doubts here?
No, sir, not up to now.
So as of now, are you clear with the things?
Yes, sir, I'm clear.
Yeah. So I think most of the people are in, they are from Andhra only. So let's discuss in Telugu as well. If you have any doubts, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so you can ask in any language. You can ask in English or in Telugu, no issues. Please interact with me to ask some questions. Okay. So now we know about database, what is the purpose of it, and we know about SQL, what is the purpose of it. We know about SSMS, what is the purpose of it. And now we are going to use ETL. Okay, so what is this exactly? ETL stands for extract, okay, transform, load. Okay, extract, transform, and load. I'll go with the same picture what we have previously. So this is the database, and these are the files. Okay, and this is the cloud, and these are the folders. Okay, so from this to travel from here to here to store it in the database, there should be some mechanism. Okay, there should be some mechanism to load this data from here to the database, right? We should have some tool for it. So for that, like, I'm going to use SSIS. So we are going to use SSIS. What is the use of this SSIS? So SQL, first thing we'll just see like what is SSIS. So same thing, SQL, S stands for server, I stand for integration, S stands for services. Okay, SQL Server Integration Services. You are trying to integrate the data. Okay, so between two different environments. So this is, let's say, one environment, and this is one environment. So you are trying to integrate this information into this. To transfer the information from one environment to environment, we need to have some mechanism. For that, we are going to use SSIS. SSIS is a ETL tool, extract, transform, and load. What this SSIS will do is it extract the data from this environment, do some kind of transformations, and load it into the table. Okay, do some kind of transformation and load it into the table. So this is what this extract, transformation, loading will happen. Okay, so this is what we are going to see in your future classes. Any confusion on this?
No, sir.
Clear?
Yes.
No, sir.
So we know ETL. So now, ETL, where it is coming? Before the database, right? Before the database. So ETL may come before the database, after the database as well. Okay, it is not mandatory like it should be in the database level or before the database level. We are going to use our ETL tool. Okay, so let's see this. So before when we are loading to the database, we need to have the SSMS, SSIS. So this SSIS is going to use for the database purpose. After this database, you may get a chance to do some transformations. For that also, you may require SSIS. SSIS can be used, okay, anytime. Okay, anytime, but it should be before loading it into Power BI. Okay, before loading it into the Power BI, we are going to use our SSIS to load the data. You may ask me, only SSIS do we have for loading the data into the database? We have a many good tools apart from SSIS. Okay, so SSIS is one of the tool. Okay, SSIS is one of the tool which is part of your Microsoft technology. Okay, SSIS is also a Microsoft technology. So all these things are Microsoft technologies only. Okay, so what is the competitors of this SSIS? We have something called Talent. Okay, Azure Data Factory, Data Stage. Okay, Informatica. Okay, blah blah blah. So there are many. Okay, but why only SSIS? Because as part of Microsoft technologies, SSIS is also one of the technology which we use it as a full stack. Okay, so before this Power BI, once you have the data in the database and you are able to write the SQL in SSMS, so after doing some transformations, you need to use this data somewhere. So for that, previously, before introducing Power BI, like we are using SSRS. SSRS stands for SQL Server Reporting Services. So this tool we used to use. Okay, this tool we used to use it. But now still we are using SSRS, but Power BI is more advanced than SSRS. So we started using Power BI. But still this has their own features, pros and cons, and this tool has their own pros and cons. Okay, so both are in usage now. Okay, both are in usage. So it doesn't mean that Power BI has been introduced, we are not using SSRS. We are using both. Okay, so we are using both. Okay, so now SSRS is done. So before this data from database to SSRS or Power BI, we need to do more analysis before to get the data into Power BI. So for that purpose, this analysis purpose from Microsoft, we have a technology called SSAS, where you can do the analysis on the data. Analysis on data. So thus data analysis can be done in SSAS. So this SSAS has two types, tabular model and tabular model and SSAS multi-dimensional cubes. So these two things comes as a source to Power BI and also to SSRS. So these are also works as a database only, but the only thing is OLAP. This online analysis processing. Okay, so till before this data will be OLTP, online transactional processing. Transaction is nothing but your activity. So for example, if I give an example, like you went to any medical shop and you have purchased one medicine from the medical shop, so then there will be one transaction. So you might have paid some amount and you have took that medicine and you have used it. So the transaction is what? So that activity, whatever is happened. Okay, so you went to the medical shop, that is one activity. Which medical shop, we don't know. There are a lot of medical shops in our country. right? So any one medical shop, there should be some name for that, right? So that name is also an activity. Which medical shop, where it is located, who went to purchase, his name, his address, his age, what kind of medicine he is going to purchase. It might be for what kind of disease. Okay, so what is the mg, how milligrams he is taking, what is the prescription for it, okay, how much amount he has paid for it. Okay, so all these things are activities when you do a transaction. So those transactions will be stored in this database. Online transactional processing. So that is processed into the database. Then this you call it as online transactional processing. Okay, so once this is done, so your SSAS comes into picture. On top of this, you will be doing some analysis, right? Online analysis processing. So that will create another database here. Okay, by using this techniques, tabular model and cube. So this you call it as OLAP, online analysis processing. Online analysis processing. So there is a transaction which is getting stored. We call it as raw data. And this raw data will be stored into another database by using some techniques and analysis. That you call it as online analysis processing. Cool. Any questions here? Any questions? Yes, go ahead. Any questions from Jyoti?
No, sir.
How about Vinod?
No, sir.
Srikanth?
No, I'm all good.
Imran?
No, sir.
Pawan?
No, sir.
Fine, right? So this is what we are going to do in business intelligence. All these concepts involved, okay, is your business intelligence. So I don't know, I think Pawan and Imran has already done this course. What level of knowledge you have, so that you can check in these sessions, because this is your repeated sessions. You can compare this training with the other people like where you got trained previously. Okay, so as part of our training, we are going to learn what all the technologies, that also we'll see. Okay.
Okay.
So
I have a small doubt, sir. For SSIS,
mhm.
in between, we are performing a database and before database, I think it's a cloud. So the platform where we are pulling the data into the database. So there only we are performing, right? SSIS integration services.
See, as integration services is a tool, okay, it's a tool where it can read couple of sources,
Okay.
and load it to couple of sources. Okay, so this might be your destination.
Okay.
Okay, so what might be the sources for this? It might be, that's what I was telling you. So it might be the Excel, CSV, okay, TXT. Okay, Excel, CSV is nothing but the other level of Excel, so where you can store more data, and TXT is nothing but your notepad, right? And also you have something called different file formatting, file formats, and also you can load database to the database to the database. Okay, and it can be read by XML APIs. Okay, and there are some third-party integrations where you can read the cloud data as well. So you can load this cloud data to cloud data, on premises to on premises. Okay, on premises is nothing but This database will be maintained by your organization. Yeah. So this to this, on-prem to on-prem, or files to files. This is only for loading the data, transforming the data, but there are other things as well which you can be done by using SSIS. Okay, there are many things. That's what I was telling you. Extraction. Okay, transform and loading. All these activities can be done by using SSIS. Okay, it might be any source. It depends on your technology, which technology you are using. So as of now, we are talking about SSIS. There are many other tools as well, right? So that's what we have discussed. Talent, data stage. All these are technologies only. Okay, Informatica is also a technology. So these tools, not technology, tools. So these tools can read couple of cloud sources, and it might be not reading the cloud sources. It might be reading multiple sources, and there might be pros and cons on each of these tools. So few sources can be read by SSIS. Those sources cannot be read by Informatica data stage or any other thing. Okay, so it depends on the technology, how they had built this tool. Yeah, so any other?
Nothing, sir. Got it.
Okay, so any further questions about our introduction, like what we are going to learn in this?
No.
Okay, so this training will take minimum 1.5 months. Okay, so you just need to stop me whenever you feel like you are not able to understand. So we'll repeat the things multiple times. Okay, and also every day we'll be having a training, like the kind of you will be practicing. Okay, so that practicing session will be there for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so with this, like you will be learning the whole BI part. So we'll be concentrating more on SQL and Power BI, and we'll get knowledge on SSIS, SSRS, SSCAS, and Azure. Azure, I'll be just showing like how to connect with Power BI. Okay, as part of Power BI training, we'll be having the desktop Power BI, services of Power BI, and paginated reports. When it comes to the language, SQL and DAX, we are going to learn. Okay, so these are the different things we are going to learn in this 1.5 months or 2 months. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so any further questions here? If not, like we can sign off for the day and we'll connect tomorrow.